Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to World This Morning. I am your host Hajra Satti and joining me is my wonderful co-host Ahmed Nawaz. Assalamu alaikum Ahmed. How are you doing
Walaikum
today?
assalam. Good morning. I am doing absolutely fine because whenever she says wonderful co-host, I feel wonderful. So I think that's the way
I
to go
think you
about it.
truly deserve that.
Well,
Ahmed.
thank you very much. You're very kind. And you tell me, how's your morning going so far?
Alhamdulillah. So Ahmed, I really wanted to ask you one question. So, you know, in life we all feel ups and downs. Sometimes you're feeling really high and very good about it, but sometimes there are lots of pitfall in our life, right? So when you're feeling down or when you feel that the things are not exactly going your way, what is your motivation?
Well, it's a very important question, I think. And, you know, you've really hit the nail on its head. It's a bit philosophical, but I think whenever I found difficulty in life, I've just talked to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think that's the best way forward. You can offer namaz if it's that time, you know, even if it's not, you can try and talking to Allah in serenity, just talk to Him, you know, and once you connect, you'll feel that, you know, things will change. And I'll be very honest, you know, this is a bit of a secret, but I think just to let people know how important faith is. I've been saying this again and again every day. Faith is very important.
True.
If I'm going through a difficulty, trust me, a very difficult time, I'll just go and pray. And by the time I reach home, I actually assure you this, that the problem's solved.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think people have different way of connecting with nature and nature has a different way of responding back to
Absolutely.
people, right? So it's a wonderful way and let's get started with the top stories,
Absolutely.
right?
Let's tell you what's been happening around the world and especially for Pakistan as well in the top news stories that we've got for you. Now, you know, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is in Saudi Arabia on a two-day official visit. The Prime Minister addressed the Future Investment Summit in Riyadh. He said that developed nations need to support countries affected by climate change through providing technology and design to build robust and strong infrastructure. Of course, Adra, the Prime Minister has been advocating the fact that climate change is not a myth anymore.
Right, that's very much important, especially for the people who are living in South Asian region because we are more prone and vulnerable to such kind of calamities. And in the recent years, we have seen how that has rolled us in front of our even own eyes because we used to say, okay, this might affect our future generation, but no, it's affecting us and we can very broadly see that.
Absolutely.
So moving on to another top story, which is very interesting.
Very interesting one indeed, this one.
Yes, so a UK-based mission will be among the first to begin removing junk from the space, grabbing it with a huge claw and moving it into an orbit that will see it burn up in the atmosphere. The CLEAR mission will remove 2 large pieces of space junk from low Earth orbit, the first attempt to ease dangerously congested space environment.
Absolutely. So what people don't understand that the Earth's atmosphere is surrounded by all of this space debris from, you know, leftover rockets and satellites. So this space junk obviously can be very dangerous to projectiles that are being launched into space or coming back to Earth. So this I think is a fantastic innovation.
That's very true, and it has a two dimension to it, Ahmed, because we have seen that how technology can be used both way for the military purposes too and for the commercial purposes too. And there's a lot of talk of how space is being weaponized because debris does not only mean the asteroids or the space celestial bodies, it also means a lot of satellites that are actually viewing us.
Capture there as well. So that, you know, that's sort of like an Austin Powers thing going on.
Right.
But you know, it brings you back to that claw game that we all used to play. You know, you're trying to grab things that never happens. But here's one very interesting news for Pakistan. The AFL Pakistan, the Australian Football League Pakistan, has achieved big. These guys have won the Asia Cup in Thailand. First of all, I think a huge congratulations to all of these boys. The Asia Cup 2022 was held in Thailand. In the final, Markhors of Pakistan defeated Laos Elephant by 45-22. The team participated in the event in Thailand with the name of Markhors. It's the first title for Pakistan. Now, the inception of the game has been there for past 2-3 years. I'm very honored to be involved in the initial stages as the head of game development, and you know, it's very proud. And congratulations to everybody involved. You know, especially when you talk about the president of the AFL, Sardar Tariq. You talk about the General Secretary, Chaudhry Zulfikar, who has been instrumental in making sure that the game spreads to all across Pakistan. It's a national sport of Australia, but it's played all around the world. And developing in Pakistan was a big challenge. And now these guys have won it, and they've further proven that they deserve, you know, a proper placement in Pakistan when it comes to infrastructure.
That's very important, Emma. Thank you so much for shedding the light on such a vital aspect of it, because I do feel whenever we won some sort of sporting event title, it's a very huge honor for us, because I think this is a soft power of a country,
Yeah.
right? That projects us the values that we harbor inside a country. And also talking about the country and nation state. So, Ahmed, a lot of people have come up, a lot of political thinkers, philosophers of different ways to devise what exactly constitute the nation building project and what is the exactly
But was it,
envisioning
Hajra? What is it, Hajra? I mean, ever since we were in school, we've been hearing about nation building, nation building. What defines nation building for you?
I think politically there is a particular definition of the nation that you need to have a certain kind of people who are living in a certain land and they occupy a certain geography and stuff like that. But more than that, the gelling ideology or the gelling force for every country, I think it's different. So, for example, United States chose not religion as their gelling or cohesive property. Why? Because a lot of Christians who were persecuted in the Europe, they ran away and they came to US, and so that's why they decided that the Christianity should not be
Absolutely.
a gelling
The
force,
driving
right?
force, yes, the
Yes,
driving force.
yes. But I think in country like Pakistan, Islam is a driving force because majority of us are Muslims,
Absolutely.
and we are guided by the Islamic ideals or Islamic principles. And I do believe that our philosopher, the poet Allama Iqbal, has provided us a wonderful framework as a guiding philosophy, but I do feel that it's very underutilized because I don't know why. So, in order to have more such sort of discussion on the national cohesion and what constitutes the nation building project, we have a wonderful guest in the studio. And Ahmed, why don't you do the honors of introducing him?
Absolutely. But first of all, I think you're very Iqbal these days. I'm hearing a lot of poetry coming from Hajra, but obviously Iqbal has defined that concept
Oh,
as well.
I have a soft corner for Iqbal. Is my
So
favorite.
we're very honored to be joined by the head of Department of Management Sciences of Cust University, Dr. Lucky Mohammed. Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you? Good morning.
Assalam. Thank you so much for inviting
Sir,
me.
thank you very much for coming on the show. Like I said to Hajra as well, the
Yeah.
first thing that we need to understand is what is nation building? How can we define it properly?
Well, it's a very good question. Within the national geographies, we do have diverse communities. We have diverse languages, even diverse religions, and all these things. So, as a nation, our responsibility is to connect this diversity to achieve something. Here, the nations explain about something what we want to achieve, and accordingly, they connect their pieces to achieve that goal and target. So that is actually termed as nation building. Though it's a process, it's a long-term process. It doesn't happen at once. So once we connect these dots and they become collective to gain a bigger task, so we term it as connectivity. And this connectivity builds the nation ahead, where they collectively achieve something. As you know, both of you know that we have very talented youth around us. Once there is a diversity, those countries which don't have the diversity, they invite this diversity. They bring different nationalities to their own countries by giving them immigration and all that stuff. So, and luckily we do have all these things in our region, but there is a lacking of somewhere connectivity. We need to have some visions and objectives which we try to connect these people to achieve those aspects. So, I believe it's a very important thing, but it is actually a missing thing in our aspect, if I say.
Well, very
Right,
true. I think
right.
we're
Of
more
course,
divided than we've ever been
we
before.
are, but I do feel, Ahmed, the point is that matter of the fact is that when you talk about the missing link or the missing vision, which we are nowadays lacking for a nation building project, I do feel why we do not utilize Allama Iqbal and his teachings and the book he wrote, The Reconstruction of Islamic Political
Which
Thought.
basically connected all of us.
I mean, the way, if you read the book and the way he defended the religion and the way he defined philosophy in the prophetic tradition was amazing, especially at the time when this philosophy, Western concept of divorcing the politics from the religion was very prominent, and he dismantled that conception and defined it. Why don't we take his teachings as a philosophical idea for Pakistan? Why is that missing in our national discourse?
Very true. Once we say that it's missing, it means somewhere the connection between the state and the nation is somewhere getting weaker. And there are many causes, because somewhere we remain unable to connect these people by empowering them. We remain unable to make them feel that yes, you are too important for us. As a nation, we need to let the people know that, to engage their connectivity. once they remain connected, actually where the link got missed, the link got missed through all aspects in terms of education, in terms of government services, and once the people go to access those services, they feel difficulties in terms of education services and other services. And once they feel missing part of the state because they are sending their kids to other school rather than the public sector school, they feel that state is somewhere not acting for them. So that's why they, with the passage of time, they disengage themselves. The need is to engage them for every services, every aspect. And we do have, as you mentioned, that Iqbal has mentioned us, definitely the religion is every aspect which connects us. It's true. But within that aspects, we need to connect the whole youth and all the streams together by providing the services which they require to make them realize that they belong to this great nation. And that's why they need to have that connectivity.
Absolutely. In your course of institution as well, because obviously you're the head of department, you come across students from various areas. It's so much diversity. But one thing that we've felt, or I can say that I felt on a personal level, is that all of them are very disoriented. I mean, you know, the goals and ambitions that probably drive our generation are not the same now in the new generation. That sense of patriotism is somewhat missing. They see a lot of problems in this country. They don't count their blessings. I mean, just having a free land to live in is a huge blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we can obviously see that we can be focused. Why do you think that they're so disoriented? Is it because of the age of digital realm, social media, or is there any other factor?
Yes, you are having a very good point. Actually, it's missing. You're right. The point is why it is missing. Actually, we remain unable to define our collective vision, what we want to achieve as a nation. We remain fragmented. And due to some specific reasons, we at the leadership level, this fragmentation get deeper because to gaining some shorter benefits, and they were dividing the society. Actually, it was beneficial for short term, but on a longer term, we keep on losing this connectivity. If we want to keep this connectivity intact, first we have to come with an idea what vision we have collectively. Let's say we want to become a good economy in this region, and we want to become like an educational hub, technological hub. First, we need to have some vision. Once we have that vision, then we connect the people around that vision. People get connectivity about some cause. If we define that cause, then they will keep on engaging themselves, and we need to realize them, we need to train them, we need to bring them in an institution where they will help them to achieve the bigger cause. So that is why if, once we were not having that vision and all these aspects, accordingly we remain unable to create a cohesion amongst the people of Pakistan. So that was the major cause where I feel we are dismantled from collectivism in terms of achieving some bigger goals.
Very true.
Right,
very true.
right. So speaking of causes, I do feel that Islam provides one such gelling force. Ahmed, and I really wanted to delve into the concept of Ummah, which Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave us 1400 years ago. So Muslim in any part of the world, whether in any territory, if he subscribes to the kalma and if he surrenders to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is a Muslim and he has the same rights and responsibilities, right? So, but if you come to 21st century or the concept of the nation building, it's a very territorial sort of a concept that you are defined by the boundaries that you have as a country. So, how do you see both of these concepts, the concept of nation state and concept of Ummah, manifesting in 21st century and especially in the discourse of nation building?
Yeah, well, it's very true that as Ummah we are part of a greater community. It's true.
Right, right.
But remember, once we talk about the nations, the nation must have a leverage once they want to connect with the world even. Remember, once as a nation we do not have achieving and all that stuff, even the Ummah will start to disown you.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not like that you're just Ummah and they will be connected with you. They will look what as a nation we can offer them. Sorry. So once we feel that what we can offer them, then they will connect based on their benefits, and accordingly we our own benefits. So that is the aspect where we have to create a leverage to connect with them too.
Right.
Only the religion will not be enough to be connected with them.
Mm-hmm.
So as a nation, we need to create that particular leverage.
What is that particular leverage?
Yes.
Let's say our economical importance.
Okay.
Let's say we are exporting or importing a lot of products to them. They feel that these things can be achieved from this particular country. So accordingly, they can send these particular stuff which they are producing to us. So once they feel that, okay, if we are going to hurt them, it will dent us economically.
Dependency, basically.
Yes, dependency. Actually, their dependency will let us connect with them.
Right. So the nations who are not economically, I mean, very well off, does that mean that they are not nations?
Actually, they are nations, but they are being discounted at different level.
Okay.
Once they don't have, once they have the lesser leverage, they will get lesser out of the bigger cake. So this is actually the point. So we have to enhance our cake in terms of economy, in terms of education, all aspects. The core aspect is the economy.
But Dr. Saab, if we look at it on a perspective that Allah has blessed this land with everything possible, you know, you have all the seasons, you have the best geographical location in the world, which the world is eyeing right now. Your position then as a leader of the Muslim Ummah, you're considered that as well. You're a nuclear power, mashallah. You know, everything is in the right direction. But still, I still boil down to the fact that the youth right now is only oriented at seeing their future outside Pakistan, not in Pakistan.
Actually, you are right. This is the point where I was saying that there is a disconnectivity amongst the nation and the state. Actually, this is the point. We have to ponder on it. As a nation, you are right. We have most beautiful places. I have went around the world, but I couldn't believe that is there any beauty like in northern area and all that stuff. And believe me, a lot of people are willing to visit Pakistan due to this beauty of its hospitality of their people. So this is our most important aspects what we are saying here. Once we say that this mental of the youth, you are right. Remember, the most aspect is now we are the connected world. Once we are the connected world, the youth is looking what the other states acting for their society, how they are empowering. Let's say if I am a citizen, I am renewing my ID, I am renewing my license, driving license. I doesn't need to go in any offices. And the same is the health services. Now this connectivity lets us know they are doing some bigger thing. Once they feel over there, they feel some sort of grievances
that is missing over here. Yes,
that is missing over there. So that is the aspects which create dissatisfaction among them as the things are not happening as per their expectations. They do have expectations from the nation, from the state, from the working aspects of the states like the governments. So once they feel they do not, their expectation doesn't meet, they become a bit worried about their future and they struggle around. But there is another good news for you too. Though this COVID was a challenge, but it opened the boundaries of the world. Now even our younger students, business graduates, they are working well from their home country. And let me know one other thing. It's not like that if they are going out, they are forgetting this country. Believe me, and internationally, this younger generation is totally different, I felt. They are helping their communities, people who are coming from Pakistan, they support them, they own them, they work them, they are actually supportive toward them. This is a very positive thing which has happened. And other aspects, after getting all these education and stuff, they promise themselves to go back and serve the nation.
Serve the country.
This is what I feel something positive.
Which itself can be, I think, a big factor of nation building.
Yes.
That I want to go
That's
back to my country and serve my
Yes.
country.
Right, Ahmed, and then when we're talking about the nation building,
Yeah.
so there are few things. So there are not few things, there are a lot of things that as a Pakistani, I'm really proud that I was born in this soil. So for example, Ahmed, just look around how we gave refuge to a lot of refugees who were coming from Afghanistan.
Absolutely.
And for 3 and 4 decades, we hosted them and we made sure that they are our brethren, right? Brethren in distress, but we have provided them all the opportunities
Absolutely.
here. A lot of Western countries with actually their share in the destruction of Afghanistan, they never gave them the sort of the refuge which because of their action caused in their country.
Even in the modern world, refugees were not given places. Borders were closed down.
Of course, and because of their machination here in the Eastern world, they're facing such sort of turmoil in their land that they have to leave there. But yet they're not given the same respect, the same status which they deserve. But I think as a poor country, despite the fact we do not have that much of resources, we gave refuge to them. And there are some countries whose refugee model was like that they were always confined to particular area boundary, but it was not the case in Pakistan, right? So I'm really proud of that fact. And I think in such a short span of time, we are able to build a nuclear bomb, which is very much essential to our defenses. So I do feel that these are all our achievements, and there's so many more which I can.
You've got so many things to celebrate, but I like the fact, that there are a lot of people who are proud Pakistanis, but then there is a segment which is mostly proud Pakistanis. So don't be that. Don't just be proud Pakistanis.
Don't be
when
arrogant,
Pakistan, when Pakistan is beating India in a cricket match. You can be proud Pakistanis everywhere, even if things aren't going your way. So that I think that's the whole feeling. Just feel proud.
That's true. That's true. And I think with pride, you need to feel more humble about it, right? Because it's a responsibility that you need to take. So Emma, very ably you mentioned about the social media and how yesterday we talked about there is a lack of civility in the debate in our social discourses, right? So I really wanted to ask our guest here, especially when it comes to the nation building project, how do you see we should engage with the social media, or how has social media blurred the boundaries between the nation state system, especially because when you're on the social media, you are hardly concerned about which particular ethnicity that person is.
Absolutely.
Or from which nation the person, because they have blurred the boundaries on the social media. So how do you see that rolling out?
Yes, you're right. Actually, we have to understand what this social media is. It was a time once people were used to be connected at small places in villages. Then the concept came, they were sitting in front of television. And the problem with this was it was one-way communication. People were communicating and the other were listening. Social media became two-way communication. And now almost all the youth is sitting on this social media, and they are mostly connected on average 6 to 10 hours per day. They are on the social media. So whatever they feel, they become very expressive. And once here comes the role of the states. The people are getting expressive. They are producing a lot of data about it.
True.
They want to, the decision policy maker want to know that, okay, they should analyze that data, what the youth is willing from them. And they need to connect them accordingly by using that data, by that particular aspects. Yes, the youth is want us to do these things for them. And remember, this is what social media is a blessing to. Once it comes to the blessing, it means you are looking mass audiences what they want to see. Let's say what they want to see Pakistan in next 10 to 20 years. So these are the aspects we need to tune ourselves. We need to tape on their wishes to connect them with the state. And once we say we want to connect them, other aspects, what I suggest those youth to please be patient. Do not say that today you just typed it, tomorrow it will happen.
It will happen.
It is not
no
the
shortcuts.
Case. Yes, it's not the case. But yes, the change is coming. We need to evaluate ourselves. That what facilities were available once we were in school, now what in colleges, then university. Now if you see in a bigger picture, we are achieving a lot of things. It's not that we are just static and we are going down. It's not the case. And I believe we not need to be worried, because we need to tune the things according to the best way.
Absolutely.
Yes. So for the youth is, we have to be ethical on social media even too. We need to respect the emotions of other too. We need to respect the bigger causes. We need to sacrifice the smaller causes.
But that means that the youth has been trying to find a shortcut towards nation building.
Somewhere actually they are somewhere. Not the majority. The other aspect is, one thing is the viral aspect. So when the things are getting viral, we are thinking that these are the majority. This is not the case. And a lot of things are being viral just to make for fun, just to make other things happen. It may not be they are demanding anything, but actually they are getting fun out of it. So we have to be very vigilant what actually they want. We need to look for their intentions rather than what they are saying.
Absolutely. Hajra, do you see a difference when you obviously have younger siblings and you see their attitude or, their understanding towards the country, and then when we remember our times and our generations?
I think yes, there is a change of behavior because obviously culture is not a static thing, and I do feel, Ahmed, that there is so much wealth of information but poverty of wisdom, right? So I do feel that the lot of young people, they are engaged with the social media that we were not engaged in our time.
We never had it.
Yeah, we didn't had it.
We never had it. It's like Dr. Laki said that we were connecting outside. We were connecting in real terms, not on televisions or on social medias. So, we've explored the challenges. You've defined each and everything. Now, in this modern day, understanding the dynamics of Pakistan, what should we do as individuals? Of course, you mentioned contribute in each and every one of your field to connect. But as far as policy-wise is concerned, or as an educationist yourself, from the role of media, what should be the right course forward?
Well, it's a very good question. I think this is not the question of this, what we call it as this program. Even the decision maker, the policy maker should think about it, what we should do to get this youth connected and to achieve the bigger cause. So, as a educationist, we have to look what this social media and spending this time on our mobile phone is what. Actually, we are not spending ourselves. We were talking about the culture. Once we say the culture, actually it plays a bigger role in consumption. So, the bigger companies are doing what? They are giving this cell phone and the media to the youth to make their culture align with their products. Now, see, the younger age, people are willing to have different foods, even different things.
Absolutely. Dependency becomes static.
So, it became a very different dynamics.
Absolutely. I think it's very, very interesting, Hajra. And one example, we saw it yesterday. A very popular social media application was down for just a short time, and everybody went crazy. That's our dependency on social media, and I think he's right. But Dr. Saab, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Very inspirational. A lot of words of wisdom for the youth. It was great having you on the show.
Thank you so much.
On that note, Hajra, would you like to take a break?
Yes, we would like to go for a short break, and after you come back, we have a very interesting topic to share.
Absolutely. Welcome back to World This Morning. Now, me and Hajra, of course, explored the topic of nation building. But there is something even more important when we talk about the digital realm and everything that we see today. And I think it is the role of women. But before that, Hajra, I'd like to congratulate you for, I think, getting to a point where now I'm actually feeling that energy of waking up every morning and coming to the morning show. So I think that is one box tick. Being a morning person is finally happening. But how important has the role of women been in not just nation building, but in journalism?
I think it's very much important, and there's so much debate going on the feminization in the journalism and whatnot. And Ahmed, you and I, we both did mass communication, right? We studied journalism as in our undergraduate, right? And we've also seen that there were so many women. I don't know about your class, but in my class, there were hardly 7 or 8 boys, and they hardly made a team.
Same with us. Yeah. Majority was that side.
Yeah, but I don't know, somewhere in the process, they disappear something, because when I come to see their representation in the offices, it it's not that overwhelming as it is in the academia, right, when it comes to that.
So even practically, you didn't see that number.
Yes, yes. So should talk about more about what is the role of representation of the women in the journalism and how is it happening. We have a wonderful guest in the studio, and we are very glad that she came. So without any further ado, we would like to welcome Ms. Zahra Khalid, who happens to be writer, human rights activist. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Thank you so much, Hajra, for inviting me. Well, this is a very interesting topic and debate on the role of women in journalism. I would like to take you guys a little back and peep into the history. First of all, we should know that who is the first woman who took part in journalism. She was Miss Frederica Roonberg. And if we talk about the Pakistan, it was Zubaida.
Okay, wonderful,
yes.
wonderful. Thank you so much for telling us.
Yes.
It's not a problem. So when I was doing my research, because the topics of journalism really excites me, because I'm a
Yeah.
journalist and I always want my identity
So
to
she's
revolve
not a
around
journalist,
this.
she's a research-oriented journalist. Let me, redefine that tagline. The research is phenomenal.
Okay, thank you so much. Jazakallah. I'm humbled, Ahmed. So in 1980s, Ahmed, we saw this concept where a lot of women were required to fill into the ad targeted, right? And so a lot of women were actually hired to fill that spaces, especially when it comes to the lifestyle, especially when it comes to the soft topics and also to the entertainment side.
Right.
And that sparked a debate on the feminization of the women in the feminization of the journalism. But again, when we look at the classes and we see the representation, there's so many women out there who are undertaking the undergraduate courses, who are taking the postgraduate courses, but along the line they disappear.
The distance between
Yes,
that and practical
market
thing.
and the what do you
Yeah,
call the
that
academia.
is something obviously to
Right.
explore as well. But Zara, you yourself, as somebody who's been involved, in these dynamics, how have you felt the numbers of women when you go around, meet people, socialize?
Definitely, like Hajra just mentioned, that there was a feminization of journalism, where high-profile journalists was only men, the editors. But women was facing, enduring stereotypes in the lifestyle magazines and do not feature in the
Very true,
hardcore journalism like sports and crime. From the last 20 years, we can see that there is a considerably changes where women has like totally substantially bowled out the man in journalism. So
The situation is improving, we can say.
yes, we can say that women is playing as a leadership role and a very important positive role in the journalism in a form of photojournalism, presenters, hosts, writers, and the activists as well, and which is as equally important in all the other fields of life.
Hajra, I think I agree with Zara on this one, that
Right.
now in this modern day,
Right.
we're seeing at least that stereotype being eliminated. If the numbers have not matched or have increased, at least we're seeing a large number of these powerful women coming out.
I mean, yes, I think the feminist movement has spiked the conversation on such sort of subjects, but how much it has actually translated into the action, we have yet to see that. But Ahmed, we have seen that the COVID has struck us and how we were all stuck inside our houses, right? And the digital revolution or the emergence
It
of
happened,
social
yes.
media into our platforms had provided actually a lot of opportunities for the women out there, right? So actually when you talk about it and you roll out that how much there is electronic cottage, it is being termed like that, right? And sometimes that electronic cottage is converted into the electronic cage because you're stuck into the screen, right? So how does that create opportunities or hindrances for the women in journalism?
True, Hajra, we have to understand this concept, electronic cage and the electronic cottage, because journalism is a kind of profession which provides us a platform to promote gender equality, tolerance, and peace, to work shoulder to shoulder and up and close. So the role of women in journalism is should be being precise, being compact, and being
Social issues are being tackled,
encapsulated
basically.
thing. Yes.
Yeah. So, but because you're a host yourself as well, right? You
Yeah.
go around, be master of ceremonies. Do you see a divide there as well? Have you faced certain challenges which you would identify as probably somewhat that challenge women as being in that field?
Definitely, challenges are over there. Women is being always targeted for being their character. Being a woman, I feel like always targeted being how I dressed up and how I looked. So
Rather
definitely
than the content you're giving.
yes,
Yeah.
rather than the content. But you see, there are few examples like women are participating in journalism in journalism. Like editor chief, we have Miss Malia Lodi, a best example in
Absolutely.
our country. I'm sitting in a PTV, like how I can forget Miss Shaista
Shaista
Zaid
Zaid,
and
yes.
Ishrat Fatma. Like we were not watching them as a as a symbol of woman, but we were watching. I still remember, I have fondly memories from my childhood that at 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. there were a number of students who watched them because to improve their English and the Urdu language. So they were not only representing as a woman, but they were representing as an educated pool of women in Pakistan.
Yeah, she's touched a very emotional subject here. I think I'm one of those lucky ones to be around in that era when obviously Ma'am Shaista was saying goodbye to television. But then, of course, we had the honor of seeing Ma'am Kawal Nasir, Ma'am Rafat Nazir, who was my inspiration, my teacher as well. She was one of the reasons I joined PTV. Then, of course, Ma'am Shazia Sikandar as the head of the channel for PTV World as well. You know, all of these women who made a difference, and we could always see them, you know, in challenging positions. They were challenging the hierarchy of a male-dominated society.
True, true. That's why I really wanted to ask you something that it is that especially this research revealed me that men's job is to write the top or the front lead story of the newspaper, right? While the women's job is to read an inside story about why that man lit the fire in the first place. So how do you see the scenario rolling out in Pakistan when it comes to journalism?
Yeah, see, no one can deny like women is wise and women are honest. And they are when it comes to profession, they are less manipulative, though they are very much manipulative at home skills. But see, no one is there to tell women that how to raise a family. So over here, I like just remember that there was a good quote of Anderson Cooper that keeping them honest. So definitely, like I see them as a best managerial and the better skills.
Well, Hajra and Zara are, you know, practical examples right now, sitting next to me of, you know, how important the role of women in journalism is. And I think the responsibility, and I'll be very honest about this, you know, I'm very particular about this, that it boils down to us, you know, the men of the society, to create an conducive environment for our women in journalism fields, be it an electronic media house, a print media house. When you talk about hostings, you know, master of ceremonies, or even for the digital media as well, Hajra, I think responsibility and the onus is on us to create an environment where they can freely express themselves.
True, especially in the age of the digital era where we are so much connected with the technology and we are getting our news at just a click, right, Ahmed? And I think that has created a lot of opportunities for the women out there because they can be in the remote places and still they can write the editorials, still they can do the freelance job. So how do you see the role of social media rolling out in the women empowerment in the field of journalism?
See, I think so. Like social media is like creating more challenges for women, but at the same time, the woman role is also like we can see that the media
helping them as
content
well?
and the media ethics. They can play their role to improve the media ethics and the media content and the language that has been specifically used for the women. So their role not only specifically limited to the social media, but we can see their role as socio-economic, political, and the religiously as well. So they can contribute to the policy contributions and the policy implementations as well. We can see that there are a lot of women who are working in the ministry and the government stakeholders. So that the role of women is relevant to the environmental scenario as well.
But you also represent a policy institute, right?
Oh, yes.
So that's, and it obviously focuses on sustainable development. So, you know, women empowerment is one of the essential components of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals as well.
Yes.
So on a policy institute level, do you think we're going in the right direction now, if not achieving our targets so far?
Yes, you rightly mentioned that UN SDG 5 represent gender equality and the women empowerment. Definitely we are going in the right direction because there are a lot of women I can see on the research side that are working on the policy recommendations and the brief and the for the advocacy and the communication side. So I think so that's the role of the woman in the think tank institute and the media and the journalism.
Whenever she says, somebody says research, I immediately turn to Hajra. That's happening. But
Okay.
would you agree? I mean, policy-wise, you see stuff happening?
I think yes, policy-wise, we do have laws here that exclusively protect the women out there. Especially, we were talking about the harassment laws. They were tabled in 2010, and we do have structures here that protect us. But when it comes to behavioral change, especially in the society, I think that point is missing link here, because we need to have such sort of conversations on the feminism translating actually into actions, right, Ahmed? And that is the missing link. And a lot of people also call this the phenomena that was talking about, the academization of the journalism, where a lot of courses are being offered in undergraduate and postgraduate to help us prepare for our market jobs into the journalism field. But then, I mean, how many women do you see into the offices is still a debatable point.
Hajra is on numbers these days, so give her solid numbers to make her agree with this argument and agreement.
A lot of people call it the pink collar ghettoization, because women are not there.
Where do you get these jargons from?
Through my research.
Well, that's very interesting. I think Hajra is right. That behavioral change needs to come from society.
True. So talking about the journalism scenario in Pakistan and internationally, Ahmed, how do you see the role of public funding into the journalism? Because a lot of people are criticizing that the top bosses out there, they are saints actually, or the capitalistic bosses who are rolling out money, and then you do not have the freedom to say everything on the TV, or you lack the creative liberties to roll out your point. So how does the role of public funding comes into it? Because I read a lot of Guardian, and it's a public funded newspaper, and at every end of the story you will find that they are asking for the donations.
Yes, when you talk about the public funding, I really salute all of the journalists over here who are really working under a pressure, there is a lot, quite pressure that the journalists
Globally
are
too, right?
That journalists are working. Like, why the journalism is the fourth pillar of any statecraft? Because the world is all about the information, and information comes through becomes knowledge, and the knowledge becomes wisdom. So role of women is all about the the practical side and the reality side. Like, she is working over there. I don't think so that the role of woman could negotiate with the public funding. It would be the role of the institute.
Right.
That defines it probably.
Yeah.
But Zara, on a personal level, as a professional who has seen many challenges in life, I'm sure you've climbed that ladder of success in reaching this point, obviously. What would you guide to the young girls out there who want who aspire to be journalists, or who want to come in the field of writers or hosting events? What would you guide them?
First of all, I want to quote over here one thing, that never underestimate the talented pool of educated women in Pakistan. So, education is the first thing. Secondly, we definitely need a leadership skills like courage, boldness, infinitive, you can say intricacies of nature.
Right.
And women is having all this. So they can be the best reporters as well. So we can see that we have face a lot of violence, fragility, and the chaos in our society when tsunami comes and the man-made disasters come. So I would really recommend them to improve their courage to be in this sector in the journalism.
Well, wonderfully put, and thank you very much for being on the show, Zara. You have been an inspiration to all the girls out there, and more power to you as well. But before we go, Hajra, you also represent that part of society. What's your message out there?
I think there are a lot of women out there who are doing wonderfully well, and I do feel that we need to incorporate a more Islamic version of the feminism out there, because once again, I was talking about it, Ahmed, that we need to have a more self-control when it comes to that. And I do feel that the women are doing a wonderful job out there, and we need to celebrate some of the women that I am particularly feel inspired. Or for example, Sherry Rahman, for example, Maliha Lodi, they did a wonderful job. So on that note, we are bidding a farewell to you. Until next time, it's a good boy and good morning.
Good morning.